Good morning. It's Thursday, July 20th, and I want to talk today about infrastructure. Infrastructure is a national disaster. There are roads, there are tunnels, there are bridges, and I don't know what else on the verge of collapse. So after years and years of promises and inaction, how is the U.S. going to revitalize its infrastructure? Infrastructure needs to be treated like a national security priority, rather than something just to toss out when you want to talk about what I might do for somebody. Infrastructure must be a major project, a major commitment to the United States government and we the people. So this is an idea that there is nothing controversial about it. It's an idea that has bipartisan appeal, and it has economic potential. There are millions of jobs sitting out there that need to be done, and we need to figure out a way to increase spending on infrastructure to levels that are unimaginable. And we need to create the 3 or 4 million jobs it's going to take to boost the productivity in fixing the infrastructure, right? And economists have said if we can boost our efforts to fix infrastructure, we will get around $3 back for every dollar we spend on these infrastructure projects. And nobody has talked about how we're going to gather this money. When they talk about this money, everybody thinks about the taxes and the state taxes and the ridiculous things like that. I have an idea, a couple of different ideas on how we can raise the money for infrastructure. One of the first things I would do is attack the campaign spending that goes on. You want to run for president or any office, you should be willing to donate 20% of the money that's donated to you for the campaign for infrastructure. How about that? How about creating some sets of rules about money for donating? How about if people donate money for infrastructure, it goes into the pot and it's a clearly managed pot, not something that public officials can put their hands on when they feel like they need some money. Not some unnamed pot. This should be the infrastructure pot, not to be touched for anything except infrastructure. How about something like a GI Bill for infrastructure workers and their families? So if you're working on infrastructure yourself, you're entitled to a college education or an education in your trade or whatever it is, some kind of GI Bill sort of, the infrastructure GI Bill. And if your father or your mother works on some infrastructure project, that should be counted toward your college tuition. How about doing something like that? How about taking a piece of the tuition money that is outrageous and having a portion of that donated toward infrastructure? Because the roads and bridges that lead to those colleges need to be fixed. And there are many corporations in this country that make tons of money, but they don't pay any taxes because they have all kinds of exemptions. But how about the fact that every corporation should be responsible for some contribution to infrastructure, some form of taxation on corporations that cannot be exempted for infrastructure? How about that? Because corporations benefit a lot from clean, sturdy infrastructure. No one in this country should think that infrastructure has just hopped out of nowhere at us. During the Cold War, President Dwight Eisenhower understood the link between infrastructure and military readiness. And he argued in 1955 at his State of the Union address, a modern, efficient highway system is essential to meet the needs of our growing population, to meet the needs of our expanding economy, and to meet the needs of our national security. And Eisenhower worked with Congress to create the National Highway System, which enhanced the United States' ability to move troops and evacuate large cities. He did that in 1955. That's 70 years ago. And we haven't done shit since then. So if we look at the country now, decades later, these rules are still in place. The capacity of the U.S. highway system to support the mobilizations of troops and to move equipment and forces to ports of embarkation was key to a successful deployment. The problem, however, is that the national highway system was designed to last until the 1970s. And so now it's been underfunded for 50 years. And billions of that underfunding are lurking on top of us. So we have a backlog of fixing U.S. highways and bridges that is going to cost over $830 billion. Because we've been asleep at the switch. We have ignored our infrastructure. And I never even conceived about the military implications of the infrastructure being what it is. So we have fallen into a deep hole, and this hole is going to swallow us up if we don't take care of it quickly. And so all of these other side projects and a lot of other things that we are spending money on should be looked at very carefully, and some portion of that money should go for infrastructure. And I am telling you that the money is raised for campaigns, the dark money and all of that should be used to save this country, not to put some asshole in office. So infrastructure is very high on my list to do something about, and we shouldn't be dilly-dallying now. Our current path, neglecting U.S. infrastructure, is easy and dangerous. It will leave us unprepared, fragile, and prove to the world we are on decline. We have to put our heads together and come up with a major solution, and we have to do it quickly, and we have to avoid pissing money away on useless projects. So I leave you with that this morning. Have a great day. Bye.